Welcome to Communing with Divine, a podcast where I share my spiritual quest and the lessons and the insights that I've received from many divine beings and energies during meditation. I am your host, Meraki. Now, let's begin. Welcome to episode 15. I am so thrilled that you're all here. This episode is sort of important, at least to me anyway, because this is the period of time where my technique, as I talked about earlier, that my technique changed and improved, that my technique starting from here did change and improve greatly. Great steps were made. And so more and more verbatim what was being said to me is coming through in these sessions, to the point where in a few sessions from now, you'll find that all of it is just verbatim what they have said, and then my responses to them or my questions to them, looking for clarification. So this is kind of an exciting turning point for me, and I'm happy to be able to share this with you. Another very exciting turning point for me is the audience that is being built up who are listening to this podcast. So before I start, I just wanted to give a huge shout out and a sincere thank you to everyone who's listening. I was looking at the stats today, and there really is a global audience that's beginning to develop. There are people who are listening from Australia. Thank you, Australia. Singapore. Thank you, Singapore. Europe. Thank you, Europe. And America. And thank you to my compatriots. And I'm extremely grateful to you all. So thank you so much. So let's begin. September the 16th, 2022, I'm speaking with the Sacred Masculine. He's explaining that there is a difference between knowing something and being aware. Knowing something is knowledge, and we just put it somewhere where we keep it until we need that knowledge. Awareness requires that we actively participate in interchanges with the environment around us and the reality that we are in, and all that exists within that reality, including ourselves. And for this to be effective, awareness must remain active within our consciousness at all times. We can't put it away somewhere for later use, as we do with knowledge. It must be active and applied always. And this is a very important difference between the two. Now, before I go any further into this session, I want to explain that sometimes the way I would describe something and the words that I would use would be different than those words that some beings would use when they speak to me. For example, I use the terms source, the all, or the one to describe what other beings would call God. And you will hear that in this next section. I always honor and I always repeat exactly what is said to me. I never modify the terms or the words that they use because they don't align with my own. I honor and I respect these amazing beings and the messages and insights that they have shared with me. And this was important for me to make clear before I continued. So when you hear a term or a word that's used by these beings that I don't use, it is because that is exactly the word or words that I heard. Jesus is with me now. He's telling me that more teachings are coming, and that within all of these teachings are healing. Within those teachings are healing and understanding. He's saying that understanding brings you closer to God, and that understanding the love and mercy of God brings healing because it dissipates fear. Fear cannot stand in the face of the understanding that God loves us all as we are and extends to us unconditional mercy. Jesus is saying that if everyone understood this, the fear energy that is so destructive within us and on this earth would fall away. This is the most important lesson, he said. All of the things that we do, all of the ceremonies, the exercises, the prayers, all of the rituals and the talismans we use, all of the little things that we do to protect ourselves, to try to raise our energies up and to try to purify our energy fields would not be necessary if we truly, truly understood this one truth. If we really believed in the unconditional divine love of God and his absolute mercy. Because if we truly understood this lesson and we could feel it, all the fear would just disappear. Fear could not stand in the light of this understanding. Jesus is asking me, do you understand this? I am replying that I do understand it, but kind of in theory as a concept. Jesus asks, can you express this to others? I reply that I can express it, but don't I need to understand it properly and feel it before I can share it with others? Jesus is smiling. He's saying that if I allow it, I will begin to understand it in truth over time. And that with each level of understanding that I gain, I'll be able to express it with more clarity to others. What I share will then help people to also incorporate this truth into their lives, and with each step, more fear will fall away. He says that if we could all just step into this knowledge directly, all fear would disappear instantly. But Jesus is saying in a very kind way that we're a stubborn bunch. He says that we're limited by our own restricted faith in divine and in our inability to see and believe in our own divinity. And this is where the fear comes from. He says, this is enough for today. The unicorn is with me now. He's explaining that purity is important because purity burns away and dissipates distortion. Distortion cannot survive where purity exists. Distortion gives birth to misunderstanding and fear, confusion, anger. We must embrace purity so that distortion can no longer exist. Distortion of energy is the biggest cause of suffering and problems for human beings and for this earth. Anything that is not pure is a distortion, even things that we don't think about, like pollution in the water. It distorts the energy and the vibration of the purity of that water, and that distortion negatively affects everything that water touches. It's not just distortions of what we think of, like thoughts, communication, emotions. It touches everything in existence on our earth and in this universe. And the unicorn is telling me that I must be mindful of this. September the 20th, 2022. I am with the god Gnosis. I'm asking him why. Why does he have a breastplate? I tell him, I know you've explained this a little bit before, but I was just wondering if there was any more. Gnosis is explaining that knowledge is often under attack, and the breastplate is a representation of protecting knowledge, as well as an acknowledgement that knowledge needs to be protected. It should not be perverted or destroyed. He's saying that we mostly think about the destruction of knowledge as a physical act, like the burning of libraries, like the library in Alexandria, which is an obvious destruction of knowledge that we can't overlook or ignore. But what we don't guard enough against is the slow and insidious perversion of knowledge. He's saying that whether from ignorance or intent, the perversion of knowledge, especially sacred knowledge, is a great misdeed, a serious transgression. He's explaining that this sort of perversion is also an affront to truth, because while truth and knowledge are not the same thing, they walk together. That's what he's saying. They walk together. He's explaining that it's similar to how innocence and purity are not the same thing, but they are intertwined and connected. There are differences between knowledge and truth, but I'm understanding that they are two sides of the same coin, and it's important to preserve and protect both, because much of the answers we seek lie within them. I am now speaking to the sages Balthazar and Melchior. I hear wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to look at truth and knowledge and extrapolate deeper meaning that can be applied to other things. Wisdom is the ability to see all that connects and how they connect to each other. They're explaining this so that I can understand easily. They're explaining it in that wisdom is at 30,000 feet, looking at truth and at knowledge, and understanding them from an elevated point of view so as to see the deeper meaning and connections in all things. It seems that wisdom, they're actually showing me an old person sitting up on a mountainside, sort of like the traditional wise old person, who sits up on the mountain reclusively. They're showing me that so that I can understand that wisdom requires detachment, so that there aren't any projections and associations with unrelated things. With detachment, or through detachment, the truth of things comes through, and knowledge remains unperverted and unchanged to suit the individual and their perspective. All of these things are required to attain wisdom. They say, remember that ego is the enemy of all these things. Ego is the enemy of truth. Ego is the enemy of knowledge. Ego is the enemy of wisdom, for it blinds. They're saying that ego leads to a desire to control, and control is a fear-based, illusory energy. I'm going to try to describe what they're showing me, the examples. Someone doesn't want to be wrong, so they pervert or cover up truth, because they feel that by changing truth, their behaviors, desires, or beliefs aren't threatened. I'm seeing a lot of things rapid fire, lots of examples shooting in front of my vision in triple time. It's hard for me to keep up. Ego, fear, perversion, control, example after example. And how there is power, how there is perceived power in numbers. Power that comes from other people accepting and buying into the perversions and the lies the ego spins. Ego wants to control people. And the more people who buy into and believe in the perversions that the ego creates for its own ends, the safer and more comfortable that person will feel. It makes the person feel as if they are in control. It's a power thing, but it's only an illusion of control and of power. They have neither control nor power in truth. Because this is a fear-based need, it comes from a fear-based place. And the more people who believe the perversion that a person or a group's ego has created, the safer this person or group feels within the lies and distortions or misrepresentations that have been created and birthed from their own fears, whatever form or forms their fear has taken. The sages are saying, know that this is not sustainable. They're using this term sustainable in a way that means something that's able to be upheld or defended, because altering truth and perverting knowledge does not allow a person or a group to escape the reality of the perversions that they have created and the effects that it has had. They are saying especially if it has been created consciously and with intent. And they are delivering that message very strongly. They're explaining that it's different if someone just misunderstands something. If it comes from an innocent ignorance, it's not the same thing. But if it comes as an informed act or a conscious act, it means that a person or a group does not have their ego in check, because they feel they have a right to control others and to control their environment through deceit and perversion. The sages are saying that there is a karmic or energetic weight that comes from these sorts of acts. The sages are being very serious about this. They're saying that this is one of the most serious things that anyone can do, because this lack of wisdom and this perversion of truth and knowledge has resulted in much of the suffering and confusion here on earth. It has changed the vibration of those who inhabit the earth, and therefore of the earth itself, because we are all linked to her. According to the sages, this is not just any lesson. This is one of the lessons. I am now speaking with the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine. They are really gorgeous. I'm seeing them as very 3D, and they are coming together as one. And they're fusing together into one form. It is the balance, the whole. The two parts that come together to create this balance, and it's beautiful to see. All of their qualities, all of their colors and energies merge together to create this one beautiful, bright, perfect light. This light is beginning to fade now, and they are starting to take their separate forms again. It's almost like their molecules are separating and reforming, reorganizing. I don't know if the word molecule is right, but it's like these tiny little dots of different colored light that are separating and reforming into the forms that they present themselves to me as, or rather, as I perceive them as. They're asking me, do you understand? I'm responding that I think I do in my limited way. I've noticed that throughout my meditations, perceived duality, balance, and oneness, or the all, these themes keep coming up. Okay, so there is a reason for the repetition of these themes that they say they're going to help me to understand. The first is that we are out of balance and the earth is out of balance. We are not in harmony, and the vibration of the earth is out of balance and not in harmony because of us. To merge with the all, we must, as individuals, be in balance. Alignment is important to achieve balance. And in the end of the end, we must be aligned with the all, with every part, every aspect of the all. And to do that, we must be in balance. But our fear energy and ego keep us in a state of imbalance. And this is ironic in a way, because we hold this fear energy when there is nothing to fear. And this fear energy and ego are what keeps us from attaining balance and neutrality. And so our fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy by creating the wall of illusion of separation, that we are separate from creation and from the all, when we are not. What I'm speaking of is obviously related to energy, to the eternal energy that is the all that we are, not the physical realm where there are things to fear. As we come into balance and begin to sit in a neutral place, a neutral space, our fears will disappear and we can achieve emerging with the all. The sacred feminine and the sacred masculine are asking me if I remember when they showed me their different aspects, the different aspects of themselves. And I do. At that time, there were parts of both of them that I did not want to look on because I found them repulsive and frightening. This is true. But I did look. I trusted. And through that trust and that experience, I discovered that there was nothing to fear. And I also found beauty in what I thought would be repulsive. I gained a higher understanding, and as I did that, I became more aligned with both sides of the whole that they represent. So yes, I do understand what they're saying. This is part of what I'm supposed to help people to understand. I actively recognize and work on releasing my own fears. And I can do this work because I trust and I allow. I trust completely. I approach the divine as an innocent child would, like an innocent child filled with wonderment, filled with excitement, completely trusting. And I'm being told that the lessons I'm receiving that I will share with other people will carry this vibration. They say, this is important. Do not fear. Do not hesitate. Move forward with your work, child. Move forward with your work, for it is your purpose, your destiny, and now is the time. Fear not. I am now speaking with Mary Magdalene. She says that I must pay attention to these lessons, for as I begin to understand these things and I learn to connect with truth, knowledge, and wisdom, I'll open myself up to more teachings about mysticism. She's explaining that mysticism is connected to these things, but it's not one and the same. She says, you must be connected to truth. You must be connected to knowledge. And you must have wisdom before mysticism can come to you in the form that it is intended, pure and without perversion. This will allow you to seek deeper things, deeper truths, deeper knowledge, deeper wisdom. What I'm understanding from her right now is that mysticism appears to involve the exponential deepening or intensifying of truth, knowledge, and wisdom. She says that I must achieve this in order for mysticism to come in and enhance and deepen them in a pure way. Because if they become perverted or distorted, it will lead me down the wrong path. She is emphasizing that this is essential for me to understand. So if you have perverted truth, knowledge, and wisdom, It means that you don't have truth, knowledge, or wisdom, but you believe that you do. And if you bring in mysticism, that affects things exponentially. And it's going to further pervert and bring in even more distortion than was there before. This is the easier path, and it's a very common path, but it is a dangerous one as it causes much damage. Remember, these perversions come from ego and our fear base. Most all of us have egos, and we hold fear in many, many different forms. We are so fear-based. And it is because we are so fear-based that perversions of truth, knowledge, and wisdom, combined with mysticism, are so popular and so potently alluring. Mary says, truth requires courage. Truth, knowledge, and wisdom take courage, and to prepare yourself to receive and understand them takes self-reflection and absolute honesty. It takes the power of metamorphosis that returns us to our natural energetic state. She's explaining that it takes releasing the fear of releasing our fear. Because honestly, most of us fear releasing our fears in our fear energy. I know it sounds crazy when I say it out loud, but this is what is being shown to me. And it is accurate, I believe. She says that this is why I must do my work every day. This is why I must ensure I honor and respect the vibration of my true self. For the innocence of my vibration provides protection from fear and from the perversions. I know fear energy well. For a long time, fear prevented me from achieving my purpose. It acted as a barrier, but it was a diaphanous barrier that didn't really exist, that I could walk through, but that I did not until recently. Mary's explaining that while it was good that I have walked through it now, through to the other side of it now, but I must continue to protect my vibration and honor my true self with all that I am. I must love it and I must protect it. Mary is telling me to look around me and see all of these beings who are here to help and to protect me, to guide me and to teach me. And I am humbled. She says that this is how precious my vibration is. She says that this is how precious everyone's vibration is. We are all surrounded. We are all protected if we want and when we are ready. This is afforded to all, she says. But fear often prevents the connection, and all of our fears come together to keep us from connecting to all of the protection, love, and guidance that we have. Mary says, there is no room for fear. There is no room for fear. If you stay true to the vibration of your true self, fear cannot exist. Only truth, knowledge, and wisdom reside there. September 22, 2022. I'm with the goddess Aletheia, the god Gnosis as well. Goddess Aletheia says, the truth is all. God Gnosis says, knowledge is power, but it's not the way we think of power. What he's showing me is that knowledge is the power to understand truth. It's the power to understand ourselves and this dimensional reality. He's showing me power that's a source of energy of some sort. It's an activation energy. This power that Gnosis is talking about is an energy that activates our ability to understand and to process. It's the power of freedom through knowledge and through truth. The sages Balthazar and Melchior have come forward. They're showing me the difference between wisdom and knowledge. And the way they're showing me, what they're showing me, is that wisdom is more of a gentle energy. Wisdom is an understanding that synthesizes knowledge and truth. They explain that I've been getting this kind of message now through several meditations because it's an important understanding. The sages are asking me if I can feel the difference in my body between these things, and surprisingly I do. Truth to me feels like little sparkles of light on the water, dancing. Knowledge feels like a heavier energy, more serious and intense. Wisdom to me feels how you would feel when you sit in an old, comfortable chair by a warm fire and you just contemplate. There is a pacificity to the energy of wisdom as I experience it. It's an assimilation. and a processing. The sacred masculine is speaking to me now. He's saying that the bringing together of the many aspects of the universe and of our program without judgment and without fear is important, is essential. He says, "Fear not, for fear is the great deceptor. It perverts, it blinds, it leads astray. There is no room for fear, as there is no need for it." He said, "This is my lesson for you today." I'm now speaking with Mary Magdalene, and we're discussing the fact that I perceive her in such an unusual and odd way. I'm recognizing that some people listening to me and listening to this podcast are going to take umbrage or be angry that I'm associating her with mysticism. Mary says to me that I should not allow this to concern me, and I won't. People will think what they will think, but this is how I see and process her energy. Mary just walked right into me. I'm feeling this energy. It's indescribable. Now she's stepping out again, and she's standing in front of me now. She asks me, "Did you feel this? Did you feel truth within this energy?" I did. She asks me, "Did you feel the connection to all that has been, all that is, and ever will be?" I did. She says, "This is the mysticism that you seek." She's explaining that it was important for me to briefly experience the energy of mysticism, and it was awesome. She's saying that as I come into this new vibration, we will be able to do this more often and for longer. That this has been very, very short because I'm new to it and I'm not ready for more. But as we work together, I'll be able to recognize and understand the knowledge, truth, and wisdom that come together to create mysticism. And she has just described mysticism as the unseen knowledge of all that is. The unseen knowledge of all that is. I'm speaking with Mother Universe, and I am seeing her so clearly right now. I can see her dress and her hands, details that I've never seen before. She's so beautiful. Her dress is black with kind of shiny golden movement. There's movement within her dress. It's dynamic, like it's a living fabric. It's pleated and it's beautiful. Now, this is just how I perceive her. She's a queen. She has a crown. She's beautiful. I'm thanking her for everything. I'm thanking her for all of the lessons and the growth. She replies, "You are welcome, child, and there is more to come." She reminds me that I should hold no fear. Now, I know I haven't mentioned this before, but it's very odd in that I keep feeling or sensing an energy, a being who's standing behind me, but he hasn't revealed himself yet. And I say himself because to me it feels more like a male vibration. As I've said before, when I'm speaking of beings as being either male or female, I'm not referring to an actual gender. It's just that a given energy or a being will feel more like a traditional archetypal male or female energy on this physical plane. As I perceive it, it's literally nothing more than that. So, for example, if I refer to Raphael, as I do, as a female, and you believe Raphael to be male, please don't take offense that I see Raphael differently. It's really of no consequence, because none of them really have genders at all. It's just a construct of our reality and personal filters that we overlay or impose on these energies and these beings. It's just a crutch that I use when I interact with them. I'm human and I'm not overly evolved, so I use crutches when I need them. I do my very best to suspend my personal filters, but clearly this is an area where I employ crutches and filters. But I will always be upfront with all of you when I am aware that I'm doing this. I want anyone who listens to what I share to understand that I am learning as I grow. This is not gospel, and I'm not trying to present it as such. So take what I'm sharing with you and distill what makes sense to you, what speaks to you, and ignore and discard the rest. Everyone's path to divine and to truth is unique, and every path is as valid as another. I approach the divine with love, humility, integrity, and innocence. I'm extremely careful that my ego is in check and does not involve itself. I hope that my personal weaknesses and filters don't get in the way of the core truth of the purity of what divine is sharing with me so that I can share with you. As to this being who's standing behind me, I hope he will reveal himself soon, and I can share that with all of you. Again, I want to thank you all for being with me and joining me for this episode. I want to thank the global audience, which I'm just so honored to have all of you listening and following along with me. And I hope you'll join me again for the next episode. Have an amazing day.